Mr. President, in March, Congress and the President said to 43 million student loan borrowers, because of COVID-19, your student loan payments are deferred until October the 1st. No monthly payments for 6 months for student loan borrowers. Well, Mr. President, October 1 is just around the corner, so what do we say to those 43 million student loan borrowers today? I propose that we say this. Number one, no income, no monthly payment. In other words, if you have a student loan, your monthly payment is zero. If you don't have any income for whatever reason. Number two, when you do begin earning income, your monthly payment will never be more than 10% of your income after you deduct the necessities of life, such as the cost of housing, rent or mortgage, and food. And then number three, the same generous loan forgiveness that exists today for student loan borrowers will still exist. After 20 years of payments for undergraduate loans and 25 years of payments for graduate loans, if you still have an outstanding loan balance, your loan will be forgiven. And that includes all the months your payment was zero because you didn't have any income. These same policies, no income, no monthly payment, will be offered to students who take out new loans in addition to existing student loan borrowers. Now, new and existing student loan borrowers will be offered one other option under my proposal for paying back their loans. This option would be like a 10-year mortgage. Make equal principal and interest monthly payments over 10 years until the loan's paid off. Some borrowers may prefer this option because it could mean paying less interest. Every borrower would be eligible to switch from one option, the income-based payment, to the other option. The remaining good news in this proposal is that the current bewildering system of 9 different ways of paying off your student loan would be thrown in the trash heap and replaced by these 2 straightforward proposals. 1, the income-based repayment option, and 2, the 10-year mortgage option. These changes will give some peace of mind to the 43 million current borrowers and the tens of millions of Americans who are expected to sign up for new student loans over the next 10 years. These ideas are not new, nor are they my ideas. They've been recommended by higher education experts numerous times, testifying before the Senate Education Committee during the past 6 years while we considered reauthorizing the Higher Education Act. These concepts have been suggested by many senators on both sides of the aisle. Democrats, Republicans, including Senators King and Burr and Rubio and Merkley and Portman and Warner, Wicker, Manchin, Shaheen, and Collins. All of these have suggested these concepts. And Mr. President, while we're simplifying the student loan repayment system, I propose we also finish the job of reducing the federal loan application of grants and loans, which everyone calls FAFSA, from about 108 questions to 20 to 23 to 33 questions. This is an enterprise that a number of us, both Democrats and Republicans, have been working on for years, including Senator Murray, Bennett, Jones, King, Collins, Whitehouse, Gardner, Cornyn, Stabenow, Tillis, and Hassan. So you see there's an unusual amount of bipartisan support for both of these ideas. Experts before the Senate Education Committee have testified that simplifying the FAFSA this way would remove obstacles that would make it easier for more low-income Americans to attend colleges and would increase the number of Pell Grants each year. Last fall, Congress and the President took the first step in simplifying the FAFSA by allowing the Internal Revenue Service to answer 22 questions for which applicants for grants and loans had already answered on their tax returns. 20 million American families who struggle to fill out this essential but unnecessarily complex FAFSA will be grateful to Congress If we complete the job of simplifying the federal aid application system at the same time, we make it simpler for 43 million Americans to pay back their student loans. Now, Mr. President, there's one more piece of good news in this proposal, and this news is for the American taxpayer. Simplifying the student loan repayment system, as well as the system for applying for student loans and grants, will save the taxpayer about $10 billion over 10 years, according to the Congressional Budget Office. This is because the simpler system will also provide more certainty in the repayment of loans. On October 1, 43 million Americans with student loans are going to have to restart making their monthly student loans repayments. Congress deferred student loan payments in March, as I said earlier, when the CARES Act, COVID-19 relief bill, was signed into law, but that deferment expires on September 30th. So there never has been a more important time to end the maddening complex of student loan repayment and make it simpler for Americans to pay off their loans. Let me briefly review how the Student Loan Repayment and FAFSA Simplification Act will work. It offers student loan borrowers just two options: the standard 10-year repayment plan, just like a mortgage, or the income-based plan that I've described. So for borrowers with no income, if they choose an income-based repayment plan, their monthly payment would be zero. If a borrower in an income-based payment plan earns income, the borrower's monthly payment would be based on that amount of income. So let's take an example. The average student loan for a four-year college graduate today is about $30,000. So someone with a $30,000 in student loan debt, making $52,000 each year, would be expected to pay 10% of that borrower's discretionary income, which is about $274 per month income. So if you have a $30,000 loan debt and you make $52,000 a year, your monthly payment is about $274 under this plan. Borrowers under the plan would never have to pay more than 10% of their income that is not needed for necessities. Now, if we don't pass this legislation before October 1, here's what will happen. Because of the confusing repayment system we have, too many borrowers will have ended up in an unaffordable, standard 10-year repayment mortgage-type plan with payments so high they'll find themselves in default. And then when we're through with this pandemic, the economy improves, and these borrowers are ready to tackle their debts, they'll find that their student loan debt may have soared out of control. Senator Murray of Washington State, who is the ranking Democrat on our committee, and I have been working on reauthorizing the Higher Education Act for nearly 6 years. We've held 19 hearings over that time. We are making good progress. In fact, I was hopeful we could mark up the bill this spring. But between impeachment and COVID, that just didn't work out. In January, I said I saw a consensus emerging. It was for more simple, effective regulations, making it easier for students to pay for college and to pay back their loans. We discussed the complexity of the federal financial aid system. We heard from many experts. At one round table, a university president from Tennessee told me it took him months to figure out how to pay off his daughter's federal student loan. This is a college president, even with the money in his hand. So this is not a new problem, and the solution I'm proposing has been discussed by our committee and many senators outside the committee for nearly 6 years. It will help both those facing loan payments starting October 1, but millions of students graduating with student debt. When it comes time to start repaying on those loans, students have to navigate through a complicated number of options today, 9 in total. I don't want to go through them in detail because it would stagger the imagination. But for example, there's the 10-year standard repayment. There's the graduated standard repayment. There are 2 extended repayment options. There are 5 different programs based on your income. The income contingent repayment, the original income-based repayment, the revised income-based repayment, the pay-as-you-earn plan, the revised pay-as-you-earn repayment. Those are all the different ways you can pay off your student loan, which confuse the 43 million borrowers who have them. Now, if I lost you wandering through that, you can get a sense of how those 43 million borrowers must feel. The Student Loan Repayment and FAFSA Simplification Act ends that confusion. It'll reduce those 9 repayment plans down to 2, 1 standard 10-year payment like a mortgage, 1 payment based on income. In addition, the bill reduces the complexity for borrowers who wish to participate in the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, which creates an incentive for borrowers to pursue jobs in public service. Today, not all of the 9 current repayment plans are eligible for public loan forgiveness, and borrowers can have a hard time figuring out which plan to choose. Under this legislation, a borrower who wants loan forgiveness can't choose the wrong plan because there are only 2 and either apply, whether you choose the standard 10-year repayment plan or the income-based repayment plan. Madam President, by the end of September, in less than 3 months, 43 million student loan borrowers will be required by law to begin monthly payments again on their loans. Many of these borrowers won't be able to afford these payments. I propose that we say to those borrowers, we have a better option for you. No income, no monthly payment, whether because of COVID-19 or for any other reason. In other words, if you have a student loan, you may defer your monthly payment if you do not have any income. And when you do begin earning income, your monthly payment will never be more than 10% of your income after you deduct the necessities of life, such as the cost of housing, rent or mortgage, and food. Now is the time to reduce the complexity of student loan debt and finish the job of simplifying the FAFSA and, Madam President, at the same time, save the taxpayers money. Thank the President. I yield the floor.